Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 15th of December, and today is Spider-Man No Way Home Day. That is right, I'm going to go see Spider-Man No Way Home this evening with one of my good friends, Matt, who's also been kind enough to actually sell me his Blue Yeti microphone, so I'm gassed for that, to have some better audio. But yeah, it's so today's video is gonna be like a vlog sort of thing, where I'm gonna like review the film, as well as, we're just gonna film various parts of the day leading up to Spider-Man this evening, which we are seeing in my local theatre at around 7 o'clock this evening. So keeping off of Twitter, keeping off of everywhere social media where everywhere can spoil it, because we really don't want this film spoiled, because this film has been so hyped and so many leaks and stuff like that everywhere. I mean, we don't really want that spoiled for us. So here we are today, finally getting the chance to see it. I would have seen it at midnight if Sony would have allowed midnight releases, but for some reason with this film, they didn't want to do a midnight release. So here we are seeing it at 7 o'clock this evening. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, my day, I'm currently in an Avengers t-shirt today. I haven't actually got a hoodie to wear. I mean, it's pretty cold today. I mean, outside is looking pretty nice. I mean, you can kind of see outside. I mean, here's my reflection a bit, but yeah, it's looking lovely outside today with the sun shining. Yeah, it's just looking like a nice day. So my good friend Matt should be here around 5 o'clock today. So kind of right now I'm just kind of in the midst of waiting for him. I've got to have some food actually beforehand. Me and him are going to grab some food as well before the film, and then we will probably get some food either there, or we'll go to a local supermarket and get ourselves some nice snack food and that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the film today. I'm looking forward to seeing Tom Holland back as Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to seeing Doc Ock back, and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, because I'm 23 and I grew up on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films. So seeing Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina come back as their roles from those films it's just wonderful to see them back, and I can't wait for them to be back and see them in action. This is going to be a really good film. I'm really hyped for this. So, and from what I'm seeing with Rotten Tomato reviews as well, it's like very high 90s from like 75 reviews so far. So it should be a very good film. I am so excited for this evening. So we're going to cut to later Harry, where Matt is probably here. We're probably on the way. So yeah, catch you then. Alright, so that's me and Matt now here in town, preparing. We've just had food. Went to McDonald's for food. Matt, what'd you get?
Double cheese.
Double cheese. With cheeps. With cheeps. And you got milkshake as well, right?
Yeah.
Chucky milk. Chucky. I got a Big Mac meal. Big Mac meal. Chips and a Coke, because fuck it. And we're now on our way to go get some food, some snacky food from Sainsbury's. I'm thinking M&M's if they have some. That's for myself though.
You want to avoid the wrappers?
Yeah, kind of. But then again, what else is there to go for? So we'll double back, and so also with what we've got from Sainsbury's, because we're going to get drinks and that from the cinema. And they do Tango Ice Blast in the cinema we're going to, so that is what I'm thinking I'm going to have. Yeah. Right, Sainsbury's done. Skittles acquired. I was thinking M&M's, but I saw Skittles and was like, we're going to go for Skittles, because I haven't had them in a while. Matt went with fruit pastels, why not? Classic for the theatre. For the theatre, darling. Yeah. For the theatre. So, we be doing this. We're now a few minutes out. We're going to get a drink in there, and we are going to get in our seats and go watch Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm excited. You excited?
No, actually I'm not.
Spam him with dislikes. I'll link his channel. Okay, so in the theatre, masks on because new COVID guidelines in the UK. Tango Ice Blast sorted. Matt, say hi.
No, I don't know you. You're a stranger now.
Of course he is. He's gone with the whole strange thing. He got Pepsi because random. You know what? I just paid for his ticket here just to come see it with me. You know, you know what? I pay it forward. You know, to strangers, of course. You know, he just lets me get in his car.
I don't even know who you are. You know, I don't know you.
Are you sure about that?
Dead to me. Dead to me.
This is going to be a good film. I'm really looking forward to this, as is Matt, even though he said he wasn't. So, I think this film's like 2.5 hours long, so be prepared. If you need the toilet, go now. But yeah, really looking forward to this, and I'll tell you what, me and Matt will speak to you after the film. Right, we've just finished watching Spider-Man No Way Home. And to quickly summarise, oh my god. Just, oh my god, an amazing film. I definitely highly recommend, if you love Marvel, and you've been seeing all the Marvel films and everything posted about Spider-Man, the hype is real. Go see it. No spoilers here. Go see it. Matt, quick review.
I love when Darth Vader showed up.
I mean, yeah, spoiler free, you know, spoiler free. But when I get home, I'm going to do a proper sit down and discuss a few things in that. No.
3 weeks later.
Wow. What a film. Yes, welcome to my newest video. I'm Harry Frazzle, and welcome to this spoiler review of Spider-Man No Way Home. Sorry that it's taking a little while between me actually recording the vlog and now recording the review part of this video. Basically, Christmas happened, and I was with family, so that took up a lot more of my time. But now we're back, and we're here creating content full time. So, as I just mentioned, this is a spoiler review for Spider-Man No Way Home, so if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it. It's a great film, as I've just said at the beginning here. And if you have seen it, stick around and enjoy my review of it. Or if you still haven't seen it but want to hear the spoiler review of it, welcome. So let's just dive right into this. So I guess the first thing to talk about is the story of Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because most of you have seen, if you've seen it, you know the story, but a quick rundown. It follows directly on from Spider-Man Far From Home, where Mysterio reveals Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man, and his life, as well as MJ's and Ned's and even his Aunt May's, gets turned completely upside down as he basically becomes famous overnight. It makes it difficult for him to go to school and even get into college, as well as MJ and Ned. So after witnessing all these problems and everything, he decides to go straight to Doctor Strange, who will try and cast a spell to make everyone forget Peter Parker. The problem is that if he does that, or forget that he was Spider-Man even. So if he does that, then he will have to, everyone will just forget that he was Spider-Man. The problem being is that Peter Parker decides, no, certain people still need to know, like MJ needs to know, so he remembered MJ still needs to know, so Doctor Strange changes the spell. Ned still needs to know, changes the spell. His Aunt May still needs to know, changes the spell, and it changed so much that the spell basically became out of control, and Doctor Strange had to just shut it down completely. However, in the midst of shutting it down, it split open the multiverse, in which we saw characters like Doc Ock come through, we see Green Goblin come through, we see Electro come through, we see Sandman come through, and we see Lizard come through. So all of these villains have come from their different respective universes, come to the MCU universe, which is, I guess, what we'll call it, and basically want to cause havoc in this universe. and still searching for Peter Parker, but who they find is Tom Holland's Peter Parker, not their respective Peter Parkers. Which, if you've seen the 2 iterations before Tom Holland, which is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's, then you'll know what I'm talking about. They're looking for those Peter Parkers. So, basically, Doctor Strange gives Peter a device that will help round up these villains, and rounding up these villains will then basically then being able to send them back to their own universes. However, once this is done, Peter finds out that their fates could mean that they would die. In fact, most of them do die in their respective universes. So Peter decides to come up with cures to basically turn them from villain to good guy. So he does that by taking them back to Happy Hogan's flat, and starting to create these cures, only for Norman Osborn to turn from Norman Osborn to Green Goblin, to then basically his head is completely overtaken by Green Goblin, and he just goes on a full-on attack on Spider-Man, where it then turns out that in the middle of that, Aunt May dies, which is, that was a bit hard to take. But while all this is happening, MJ and Ned have got the device which Doctor Strange said could instantly send these guys back, but Doctor Strange ended up fighting Spider-Man and ended up actually losing to Spider-Man, so wow. But as MJ and Ned are discussing how they want to try and find Peter, they open up a portal using Doctor Strange's rings, and out pops Spider-Man, and they're thinking, oh well, here's Peter, here's their Peter. Turns out when he takes off the mask, it's Andrew Garfield's Peter. Amazing reveal. I just remember the cinema going absolutely mental for that. But anyway, once that happens, they open up another portal, and then you can see what happens here. Tobey Maguire's Peter and Parker turns up, and again, cinema absolutely erupted. And it was so great to see these 2 former Spider-Men come into this universe. So they in the end, go looking for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and they do find him. And basically they want to help them with the cures to help, cure these villains, to send them back to their own universe. So they want to help, they don't want to kill them or fight them, they just want to help cure them. So they all end up teaming up and creating the cures. They then go to the Statue of Liberty, which now has Captain America's shield, nice little touch, and they decide, yep, this is where we want to do it. So once Peter has revealed to the Daily Bugle that that's where he is, all the villains end up coming to this one location to try and kill Peter Parker, or the one Peter Parker they thought. They didn't expect the other 2 to turn up, so that was just kind of an added bonus for them. So they turn up, and there's a big fight, huge fight with all 3 Spider-Men. There's some really cool shots in there, by the way, as well. Run some really nostalgic stuff in there as well. There's a bit of banter between all 3 Spider-Men, and it's just brilliant. So definitely, if you haven't seen it, go honestly watch it. So yeah, once they do that, once they start fighting and that, they start curing them. So they cure Sandman by turning him back into a human. They cure Lizard by turning him back into a human. They cure Electro by basically removing the electricity from him. They cure Doc Ock. Well, he's already cured, already. He already got his cure, which was fixing the chip in the back of his neck. So fixing that enabled him to take full control of his Octo Arms. I can't remember the term of what they are actually called. And then all they was left to do was cure Green Goblin, who was basically turned into like the main villain of the film. However, Peter is out for vengeance. Peter wants to kill him because he killed Aunt May. He's blaming Green Goblin for that, so he takes his hoverboard as he's beat him clearly, and he's took his hoverboard and he is hung it over his head and is about to whack it down onto him when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man stops him and he puts it down. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man actually ends up being stabbed by Green Goblin, and then Andrew Garfield throws the cure to Tom Holland's Peter Parker and stabs him, and that cures him by basically only giving him control of Norman Osborn. That eradicates the Green Goblin side of him. So that's essentially where we're at there. Everything seems to be good. Unfortunately, the multiverse actually starts to open up completely. Like, Doctor Strange is having to battle the universe by trying to hold it together to try and close it up again, but these villains and people are starting to come through. So the only way to stop this from happening is by getting Tom Holland's Peter Parker to basically do the spell correctly, how it was intended, which is everyone should forget Peter Parker. That would mean his friends and everybody. So as the spell happens, it does all close up, all the multiverses are closed, and everyone goes to forgetting Peter Parker. So MJ doesn't know who he is, Ned doesn't know who he is, even Happy Hogan doesn't know who he is. He ends up moving into an apartment with nobody knowing him, and it's a sort of bleak end, but he's still Spider-Man, so he doesn't have the Stark tech, it looks like, anymore. He's had to create a new suit. It's a really cool looking suit as well, by the way. Again, if you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. But yeah, I really like how the suit looks at the end of the film. And then after that we get 2 post-credits scenes, which actually mixes Sony's like Spider-Man universe, I guess, and the MCU Spider-Man universe. Or the MCU just universe. So we get a post-credit scene where Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, Venom, is sat at a bar with a bartender explaining to him the events of Infinity War and Endgame, where the blip happens, and so he's explaining that he's just hammered completely, and the bartender is just constantly explaining to him that for 5 years everyone had just disappeared and then come back all of a sudden. So it was really cool, only for then, once the spell happens, Eddie Brock disappears back to his own universe. But we see a little bit of symbiote left on the bar. So does this mean that we're now getting Venom in the MCU? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then there is another post-credit scene with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is, the film looks really cool. I can't wait for May of this year. Yeah, we're in May. Well, in May 2022, we're gonna have a new Marvel film, and well, yeah, we're in 2022. So, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you're looking forward to all the Marvel content that it will be coming out this year, as well as all content that I'm gonna start creating. So, keep an eye. But that's it for the story. I'm going to go next on to the appearances from certain characters in the film. So, as I said, we've got some appearances from several different characters returning, actually, into this film. We've got Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock. We've got Willem Dafoe returning as Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. We've got Jamie Foxx returning as Electro. We got, like, the 2 probably biggest ones though are Tobey Maguire returning as Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and, you know, Andrew Garfield as the same role. It was amazing to see those characters return just for this film. It really shows the full power of what Marvel are capable of now, to bring such characters who have in the past played Spider-Man and then bring them back into the universe. You know, we've got an older guy in Tobey Maguire, We've got, that middle guy of Andrew Garfield, and now we've got the new age of Tom Holland. But it was really nice to see basically 3 generations of Spider-Man in one film. It was so cool to see. As I said, there were some amazing scenes in there with all 3 of them. They have such good chemistry together. So if you haven't seen the film, go watch it just if you are a fan of all 3 Spider-Man generations. You'll really like it for that. The appearances were not just like little cameos in that. They actually had major roles in the film, and I think that's what we want as moviegoers. We want to see these characters actually play a pivotal role. We don't just want cameos. I mean, look, okay, we had Tom Hardy turn up as Eddie Brock at the end for a small cameo, but I think it's not shoehorning it in, but that's at least introducing Venom into this universe, which is what a lot of us have wanted to see. We wanted to see how Marvel are going to incorporate Sony's universe into their films, and they've been able to now do that, I believe. But yeah, the appearances were not just little cameos, they were major roles, and that's probably what made the film even better. So let me talk to you about my experience with Spider-Man in the past. So in the past, I grew up on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I am 23 years old, and the first time I saw Spider-Man was probably when I was around 5 or 6. My parents bought the DVD for Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, and I think since then I've been hooked. I really enjoyed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. In fact, it's been a while since I've seen those films, but they're so nostalgic to me when I do see clips of them online and see everything about them online. So I grew up on Tobey Maguire, but then after that, kind of my obsession, would we say, my obsession with Spider-Man kind of grew from there. So then when Andrew Garfield took over the role as Spider-Man in 2012, it was really nice to see that Andrew Garfield took over the reins. I thought he had 2 decent films. I mean, the first one was good. Second one, it could have been better, but I mean, it was nice to see Spider-Man just back on the big screen at some point. And then, of course, now we've got Tom Holland, who I think is doing a really good job as Peter Parker, as a young Peter Parker as well. I think all of them have redeemable qualities. I really do enjoy all 3 Spider-Mans in their own way. I believe that Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker. I believe that Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, and I believe Tom Holland is the best of both worlds. He does an exceptional job at playing the nerd as well as playing a cool superhero. So I really enjoy seeing all 3 Spider-Man, and like I said, I can't say this more than once, or I have to say this more than once. It's so nice, so good to see those 3 on screen together. It brings back so many nostalgic memories for me watching Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and seeing Tom Holland now in the role. I almost feel like Tom Holland he's obviously the baby of all 3 of them, but I feel that Tobey and Andrew can give him some really good advice in the future on how they played Spider-Man, and how to deal with the pressure of playing such a huge pivotal character. I bet they gave him great advice, and no doubt they will be keeping in contact. So I'm just really happy to see all 3 of them on screen together. Just go watch it, just for those 3. They've got a really good thing going there. But the next thing to talk about is my opinions on the film. So I've already spoken about the 3 Spider-Man and my opinions on those. I've got an opinion on Aunt May dying. I think the film needed that. I think we've seen in all 3 generations of Spider-Man that in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man we had Uncle Ben dying. We also had Uncle Ben dying in Andrew Garfield's, and we didn't get that Uncle Ben figure in Tom Holland's universe. We only had May. a very young May as well. But when she passed, and before she did, she gave Peter the iconic line of, "With great power comes great responsibility," and I think we knew from there that, hearing that from May was probably the perfect way for her character to die off. I think a lot of people thought that Tony Stark would be the one to deliver that line to Peter, with Tony being the one that has basically given Spider-Man his powers, with the suits, with the web shooters, with basically just taking him on as like a child prodigy sort of thing. But I think it was rather fitting that his family, May, delivered that line. It keeps with the tradition of, a family member saying it. It doesn't always have to be Uncle Ben. It can also be May. So I'm just glad that May had the opportunity to say that to him. I also believe that the story of the film, really strong. I thought it had a great premise. It really is now diving deep into this phase 4 with the multiverse. We all knew that the multiverse was coming at some point, and I think this was a good introduction to it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they take this. Who is going to be the next villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? We've had Thanos, we've had, Planet Destroyer, well, I say Planet Destroyer, Population Destroyer, shall we call him. How do they take this to the next level? And I think we are going to see that in this new phase. This could be carried out over, 2 phases, I would say, phase 4 and 5. We had basically 3 phases to build us up to Thanos, but they could perhaps do this in another 2 phases, so phase 4 and 5, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. And the last opinion I have is that this film gave me such a nostalgic trip with as I said, with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, seeing those two on screen, seeing how those two played their Spider-Mans, and them recreating what they had done in the past to bring back here, was so iconic in that. I mean, like I said, we had some banter in the middle there with all 3 Spider-Mans, with Tobey's back from Spider-Man 3, and there was a moment in there which I think everyone gasped at and there's such a huge sigh of relief when it happened, was Andrew Garfield caught MJ as she was falling from the Statue of Liberty, but instead of, he actually caught her instead of using his web, because we all know what happened after he tried the web with someone. It was just a nice moment to see that he had a bit of redemption in that. But like I said, whole nostalgic trip, and the film is just really well shot. It's beautiful to look at. I just really liked how the direction that Marvel went with it, and I'm so looking forward now to the rest of the phase. It started off kind of weak with Black Widow and Eternals not being so great, but I think they are pulling it back now with Spider-Man, and I really look forward to the rest of the phase. So that is going to be my review of Spider-Man No Way Home. I thank you so much for watching this video. There is going to be a lot more content on this YouTube channel now, so I highly recommend that you hit the big red subscribe button down below. I'm going to be covering more Marvel stuff. I've got Star Wars stuff as well that I want to cover, and there is some really cool gaming things that I really want to cover as well. Whether it be review type, let's plays, whatever you're interested in, I'd love to hear about what you're interested in, so make sure you leave a comment down below. There are 3 things I'm going to ask you. One is, who is your favourite Spider-Man out of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland? That's number 1. Number 2, who do you think the villain of the MCU is now going to be? I personally think it's going to be Wanda, after watching WandaVision and reading a lot of stuff online. That's my personal opinion, but what is yours? I just want to hear it down below. And 3, what sort of content do you like to watch? Do you like to watch more gaming stuff? Do you like to listen to someone talk over gaming videos? Do you like to hear people review things? I just want to hear what you have, or what you like, because I want to create this channel as well for you, for someone that wants to just sit down at the end of the day and watch a video while they're just relaxing, chilling out. You know, as long as you're enjoying the content or not, I just want to keep making it. And that is going to do it for this as well. So thank you very much. Make sure you like the video as well. That really does help my channel out, and that would be so much appreciated. And I'm grateful for every single person that watches this video. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. And yeah, I've been Harry Frazzle. Take care.